evaluation. I would look, I'm not an expert, but I would look at some that's really walking. I'm like, okay, this.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
get
they're
that.
like, oh my God, it's good. It's just, Lord, yeah. And then when you get it, in school, they're not even helping them with
Yeah.
anything.
So what therapies does he get in school?
Well, he has speech language, which they say they're kind of getting on the tail end of it. He's good. They were working on like his TH sounds, and there was nothing major going on with that.
And
But
the
my
funny
daughter and I
thing
know.
is like if he actually got the therapy he was supposed to weekly or how often he was supposed to actually get it and work on it consistently, I feel like things would have gotten a lot better. But it's like she's absent, they're busy.
Whether it's counseling, whether it's
it needs the consistency in here.
and that happens in schools. I hear it's like
when
then
I was
hear
in
in
Westover for like the last 3 months, I didn't have counseling.
Yeah, so you went about
And
3
then
months, maybe once or twice actually getting it.
Yeah, and I think with
it's just the
things,
consistency I know is important.
Yeah.
and I heard with OT a lot of times they're focused on the academic part of it, like the OT issues,
Yeah,
like whether you're
so in
writing
school,
or
it's
not
different
the.
than here, cause at school they look at how either fine motor coordination, visual perception, visual motor skills are impacting like school-based stuff. Here we're looking at things that are impacting his typical day.
Yeah, even sensory issues
Yeah.
is part of OT
Yeah.
and stuff, yeah.
So, so I'll do like some standardized assessments. How's he doing fine motor wise?
Oh, that's hard, right, to find motor
How
house,
is-
the pen, well, let's just take an
How is
example
that
of holding a
again? That's just
pencil.
Like, so really, it could be anything from holding a pencil and
Oh,
writing for long
toothbrush,
periods of time,
Yeah.
toothbrush, using utensils to eat, cutting with a knife.
I've noticed
Yeah.
when he holds
Buttons,
things, he
zippers.
holds things a lot different than anybody else, even when he uses like a fork.
Okay,
I don't know how he holds it. I think he holds it so close, like I don't have.
I will, no, that's okay, I will take here's a pencil, but I can, I'll take a look at it, we'll do.
We've told.
I think like when he holds it, right, so this is the end of the fork, I think he'll kind of go really far to that, and I tell him, I said, try to bring your hand
Yeah,
this
like
way
if you're
and rest it
Yeah.
on the top, but he'll just always hold it in a different type of
It
way.
just looks a little uncomfortable
And then, so he does what's comfortable for him, and then he's doing it for so long, and then I really didn't notice it until we were talking about like the dexterity and how those things work, and I was noticing so many different things like that, like, when he does the way he manipulates his hands doing this or that, how different it is from how other people do it, even if he's doing a button, like he's gotten better with it, but he struggles with it because, he's just not holding it the way that it would make it easier for someone else to do it, so it would definitely be hard.
When he was really young, you never thought of it, like, okay, we'll do
And he'll
something,
even tell
and
me,
then you realize.
I'll have him hold a pencil a different way or anything a different way, even the fork or a knife or something, and he'll admit, like, that feels so weird to me, like, I'm not used to it.
And now that he's like older and can communicate that.
Yeah, and the pencil thing, from early on in kindergarten, it was like pulling teeth all through a few years.
Yeah, he's
in
already at
school.
the point now
I
that
said-
he's so comfortable with how he writes, so sad that they just say, oh, well, hey, if it works for him, let him do it. I wish we could have got to that point that he could have.
Yeah, definitely, and that's what I don't get is where
the right way.
I always asked early on help him, and it was like pulling teeth, maybe a little bit, then they wouldn't do it. So then when it got to a point, I'd still address it. Oh, well, you know what, if it's working for him, and he's got the muscle memory, and you don't wanna change it now, and I'm like, well, are
I've
they
been
right?
asking you to do it
Oh,
before
my
the
God.
muscle
So
memory happened.
We begged,
horrible that
because we really, and I know
know.
for me, I've had a psychiatrist tell me, I hold the pencil really weird when I write, and it does hurt my hand after a while, and I write, it takes so much effort for me to write like really nicely, and I don't want to.
And you're exhausted.
Yeah, it's just not comfortable, and I can see how there is a certain way to hold it because it doesn't put so much strain on your hand and your wrist.
And
he holds it even more different than I do.
And the way, early on when he was at school, we were clearly working on his penmanship, and even how he held it, even it took time, he wrote so neat. Then he went to a couple private schools, they don't care how you write, they don't care if you don't write at all,
But I think it's like
sadly.
me, you can write neat, but it takes that much more effort to do it. And it's so much easier to just be messy and write.
Yeah, now I feel bad, it's just because I know I'm a stickler for that. I want to, like they were doing cursive in school, that other schools don't do it, he could write his name in cursive, I want him to, his first name, but I just, I'm wondering if they're right about that, like, however he holds it now, or that's the end,
So-
is changing gonna be worse,
Yeah.
is it, you
So
know?
from a, like, that is kind of where we're at for his age, is like, if it's working for him, we'll keep
I
doing
wonder
it.
if it is
But
straining him, I don't know,
if he's fatiguing fast, we can work on overall strength to
yeah.
help and endure,
So
like writing endurance.
working
with
with
what he
his
has,
way.
yeah.
Well, you'll see, I'm sure how he
Yeah, I'm
holds
gonna
it,
do a whole,
yeah.
I'll do a whole fine motor, I'll also look at like balance, things like that too. How is he doing with like things like opening containers? Like you find that he's strong
He's
with
still
his
he
hands,
still struggles with that too, because he's gotten a little better, but he would always have me open up like bags of cereal or chips or something, cause I would try to show him how to do this,
Just
like.
manipulating
Yeah,
it,
you would
like,
grab
you
the
know.
two sides of the bag like this, he wouldn't be able to do this,
Or the
to grab
Ziploc.
the two
Yeah,
sides and pull it apart. He has gotten better, but he would get so frustrated before he even did it, that I have to really encourage him, hey, try it, if you don't get it, that's okay. But he does still have a hard time.
what is it, so when someone.
It's cause of the way that he, naturally goes to do it is just such a different way, and it doesn't work, he
And
gets
when
frustrated.
someone has, say, a lot of issues with the fine motor, is it just that they just do, or they're connected with something else, with other issues?
So it's hard to say.
Autism,
So if
yeah.
there's some sensory difficulties as well. So we always talk about like the three big things, big sensory systems. So the vestibular system, the proprioceptive
Yeah.
system, and the tactile system.
Yeah,
So a lot of times, if we have these sensory concerns and these sensory difficulties, we're not perceiving gross motor wise where we are in space, how much graded control or force we need to use to do certain things. So you also see that issue with the hands. Okay, so tactile, I'm not perceiving really how I'm holding the pencil the correct way. Like it's not really, it feels awkward or clumsy, and I'm not really perceiving how it feels in my hand. Then proprioceptive is like, okay, how much pressure do I have to use when I'm writing? Am I using too much pressure? Am I using too light? I don't really know, because I don't really get that feedback. It's not really integrating into my nervous system the way that it would for you or for I.
Oh, interesting, okay.
So there's sensory components to it, and then there's also the strength and coordination components. So because of the difficulties kind of perceiving that stuff in your body, then you're not using your muscles correctly, like in the most efficient way, and then now we're dealing with a strength issue and more of a coordination issue. So it's all connected. I don't know which comes first, the chicken or the egg. But you kind of see from when they're little, if they're struggling with probe and tactile, later on you're gonna see the handwriting difficulties, the coordination difficulties.
And I know the, what they called it, I don't know how they came up with anything horrible about it.
Oh, Addison Child. Oh, yeah. How all the systems are working, and then go from there, but I do like.
I'm sorry. He has that sense.
Oh, yeah, we grab a lot, does he ever?
Yeah.
If you like this?
Yeah, it's the forms, I can still find that, I can
Mhm.
You may have ACG, the whole, that's, I just get anxiety.
just the forms,
You know,
I gotta hold this up, cause
I
I
wanna
wanna try
really know the
to.
answer, the right answer. I don't want
No, I
to
don't blame you.
misdiagnose, whatever it takes to go through it with a fine tooth comb, and say, okay, yeah, no, it's not that. Because I know it can be mistaken for easily diagnosed with moderate hypothyroidism.
Mhm.
Not through, God forbid, any professionals, you
Yeah.
know, I have to,
Wait,
on
can I
my
take
own,
a photo?
stumble across information like with anything, sadly, and it's,
No, I took a good
picture of it.
Well, I found it
You know,
already, I found it, look.
you're born with
Huh?
AD,
What?
you're born with autism.
So,
$97.
kind of, they're not really sure.
Yeah.
They're on the
I
fence
agree
about
with
it,
that.
so they're not really sure if there's like definitely seems that there's some type of genetic component, and then there's also an environmental component as well. So they're kind of looking at whether there's genetic markers, and then if something
I
in the
think it's
environment
actually
triggers
made for
those
something
genetic
with a
markers,
wheelchair,
whether
but it's used
exposure
for
to, like,
sensory. I think it's used to like stop
the
wheelchair,
environment,
but
or
it's
especially like in
also
this
used
area,
for
because there's such a
sensory
high rate of autism, they're
Yeah.
not sure, like, why is there such this high
cool,
incidence
right?
in New Jersey
Yeah.
versus the rest of the country? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Are there environmental things happening?
Yes.
Is it the food that we're eating, or like, no one really knows, so
Here,
they're looking at it at all different angles.
Here, sit on it.
But they're not really sure.
Oh, I thought you were saying on the back.
Slowly developing, so I look back and I see some things.
Here, promise
that,
you,
Yeah.
you know,
promise you
stuff.
won't knock that over, right?
But, yeah, it's just like I said, a lot of questions, but whoever I'm talking about it, but.
I love talking about it, so we can talk about it.
Oh, no, I know, but I don't wanna take away, I tend to do that, I'll start a whole spiel of another topic. And I appreciate it, but don't say that, you will not get this done, so.
Like for when this is
you gotta say,
done,
all right,
if you have a
you're
break,
all
I'll
right. We'll talk another time, maybe.
Thank
Thank you, though, I appreciate it.
No.
It's just a lot to take in, you know, and stuff, but I'm, you know,
Okay. Any cultural or religious considerations for care?
oh, for what, I'm sorry.
Any cultural or religious considerations for care?
No, no.
Just a question.
Yeah, no, that's okay. In my head, I wasn't processing it, just meaning, do any therapies he gets or something?
Yeah, like,
or-
are there any things we have to be aware
Oh,
of?
yeah,
Like,
no.
I know certain, okay, and then, can you walk me through a typical day for Jaden, kind of from like when he wakes up in the morning until when he goes to sleep?
So basically, he used to wake up and go right on his tablet. I changed that.
Okay.
Basically, he'll wake up, he'll watch about an hour of TV. Maybe after that, he'll have a little, maybe have breakfast, or if he doesn't have breakfast, then he'll go on his tablet for maybe an hour, 2 hours, but definitely has breakfast like after that.
Okay.
Trying to think.
Just like without, well, now there's no school.
Yeah,
so
it's
just
fine.
Yeah,
like-
like no school, so
All
then
right,
like
so,
it's been a struggle with the tablet and trying to get him off of it and taking breaks with it. But when he does take a break, 'cause I tell him max amount of screen time, whether it's with the PS4 or tablet or even TV, sometimes a little more with TV. He will read in between that time, he'll draw between
he
that
loves to
time.
read.
Or if he has someone that he can call, because he's still in the process of making friends, that's always been
That's a whole
a
other
struggle for him.
struggle, yeah.
And actually, the thing is he'll find a lot of on the tablet because a lot of times he talks to his friends through the game.
I can try to say it's not